Welcome to Your Radiant Spirit, a space for the conversations and colors that help you see yourself more clearly. I'm Heather Eck, an intuitive artist and guide, and I believe your soul speaks in the ways the mind can't always put into words, through color, energy, and the stories your body holds. This show is where we explore those messages. Through personal stories, deep conversations, and creative insight, we'll uncover what's been hidden, release what no longer serves, and begin to imagine what's possible when you live in full alignment with who you're meant to be. What you hear here is more than inspiration, it's an opening, a chance to feel the shift that could change everything. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's step into today's conversation. A few years ago, I met Sabrina Victoria, but I didn't know how much she was going to impact my art business or my life. After we ended this podcast recording, she talked to me about her community, House of Velani, and I'm telling you, everything started to shift for me after my very first meeting. We're talking focus, we're talking action, we're talking commitment with a community of women business owners who are here to make moves and here to make money. It's been amazing, honestly. Sabrina's story is so remarkable. She is phenomenal. She is inspiring. She is a badass. I won't do her story justice, so I'm not even going to try. I'm going to let you hear it directly from her. There is so much more to this powerhouse woman, and I think you're going to love this conversation. I bet you're going to run to her website to sign up for her community. Just let her know that I sent you. Enjoy this episode and let me know what you think. What work do you do today and why? How did you get there?
Yeah, so I run a community called Her Nation Global. The mission is to get women seen, heard, so that then they get paid. So one of the biggest issues with ladies is we're just taught our whole lives to be quiet, small, little, humble. And so when we get into the world of entrepreneurship, we have brilliant things to share with people, but then we're still being quiet, small, little, humble, and we're not talking about it. So if nobody knows who you are and what you do, there's no exchange. There's no money exchange. Education, knowledge for an exchange of money. And unfortunately, there's so many women out there that have brilliance just to share, and they just don't know how to get their name out there. So that's what the community as a whole, we do everything. We do podcasting. I run a digital magazine. We do masterminds, networking, business workshops, sales workshops to really help women come out and be bold, proud.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so, we were talking a little bit about how you got your start. You have a really, well, tell us about your background. I can't even do it justice. I'd love to hear you talk, and I want you to share your background. You were a young mom,
Yeah.
young single mom. You had lost your community. You had lost your connection with your family, and
Yeah.
then you took this flying leap into creating what would work for you, because you needed to.
Yeah, yeah. The main key point that I really like to hone in on is the loss of community. A lot of times people don't recognize until you've gone through something where you're by yourself doing something hard, and then you're with other people doing something hard, and then the difference. And when you can really polarize the difference of like, dude, that was so much more difficult than it would have been. I wish I would have had a community, then you can really acknowledge it. And I think that's the perk that I've had in my life. I got pregnant at 20. I was incredibly religious. My whole family was. And so when I got pregnant and I wasn't married, they disowned me. I lost everyone I had ever known my whole life, even my bestie, right? My best friend, ride or die, left. And so I was all by myself, having a kid and raising a kid. And it was really getting hard. And then you fast forward like 20 years, right? My son is about to be 22 this month. And now I'm in a community, my own community that I've created, where we're doing hard things. We're running an entrepreneur, we're trying to run a business. It's really
Hmm.
hard.
Yeah.
And now I know what it feels like to be fully supported by individuals who want you to do well, who want you to succeed, who are sharing their contacts, their knowledge, their resources with you so that we can all rise together. And now I have such a polarizing difference in stories here where I'm like, damn, dude, anytime you're doing something hard in your life, you got to be in and amongst people who have done it or are doing it
Hmm.
so that you can work off of each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the lack of community is something that so many people are dealing with, and they don't even quite know what it is that they're missing, but they know that they don't have somebody next to them who is either pulling them forward or reaching their hand back and saying, "Come on, like you can do this with me."
Absolutely.
So how did you go from having lost everybody that you had ever cared? Because I think about your story, and I became a mom, I want to say at like 35, right? And so even then, having a family around to care for this young person was hard, even with a community. So I imagine that for you, it was just unfathomable to think I've got this tiny little person that is now relying on me for everything. Um, to then go, okay, well, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to find a way. How did you overcome? What were the things that you did? How did you move forward?
Yeah, that's one of the things that I when your back is against the wall and you have to. When your back
Hmm.
is against the wall and you have to. And I always say this is one of the reasons why I'm really good at coaching and one of the reasons why I'm really bad at coaching because I have very little sympathy for individuals because I have done really, really, really hard things all by myself. And I look at the luxury of having a community, having a family, having you know, uh,
Yeah,
having a support system, and then hearing people say it's hard, and I'm like, yeah, there's another hard. There's another
yeah.
hard that you're really not understanding. And it doesn't make one better than the other. One of the things that I love about podcasting, I myself have interviewed over 800 women. I ran a podcast every single day for 2 years straight. And I was always in this thought process of like, my story is, oh, it's a dark story. Oh, it's a dramatic story. But when you start interviewing people, dude, people have had lives.
Hmm.
People have had lives.
Yep.
Um, how did I do it? I mean, you do what you have to do.
Yeah.
Do what you have to do. I remember interviewing this woman who she was like 12 living in some country. I don't know what it was, but her town was getting bombed daily, bombed. She's like, we would stay in the basement. We had all these things that we had to do to make sure that we would like stay alive and what have you. And then she's like, we'd come up at like 10 o'clock at night when it was like quieter. And then they'd go searching for food. She's like, I didn't know any better. I didn't know that this was hard. And then she eventually wound up coming to the United States and she's telling me this story. And I'm like in tears. I'm like, I can't even imagine
Yeah.
her and her brother and her parents. And they're like, we catch rats and we'd eat rats. I'm like, oh my God. Right. You start to realize, like, yeah, your story's hard. Everyone's story's hard.
Hmm.
Everyone's story's hard. And you do what you have to do in order to survive. And that's
Yeah.
really all it is. You do what you have to do in order to survive. Everyone's story is valid. Everybody's story is hard, and you do what you have to do to survive.
I think that's so true. And it's all about perspective too, right? Like when you hear
Absolutely.
somebody else's perspective, you think about your own and not to say that you compare, but you can't help but to compare and go, oh, I haven't had to do that.
Yeah.
And I know, being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, you look around some days and you're like, this is really freaking hard. It's just me. I'm doing all the things. How am I going to make it work? How am I going to do all this? But then I think that you have to sort of muster up this place within you that wants it more than um, the other option.
That's exactly what it is. Yep, that's exact. There was a few turning points in my story that I can pinpoint where I made an actual decision of like, I'm not doing it this way. I'm doing it the other way.
Hmm.
And that is a lot of it. And listening to that and then actually taking action on it. A lot of times people learn things, right? We learn things through our healing journey or through life or reading books or podcasting. We're like, oh, that seems like a really good idea. But then there's never any implementation. And
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things that I've been really good at. One of the things I've been blessed at is I'm a really good student. I listen. Oh, I listen. I ask all the questions. I'm so curious, but then I implement quickly. If it
Yeah.
resonates with me, I'm like, Girl, let's fucking go. We're doing this. We're doing this." And then the change is immediately. The change is
Hmm.
immediately. And a lot of the growth, the strength, the expansion that I've had in my own life and my own business and my own bank accounts is because of that. I don't hesitate. I
Yeah.
really have learned to listen to my gut, and I roll with that.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. I was just telling my husband the other day, I feel like 99% of life is just showing up. Like showing up either at the right time, at the right place, or if somebody says, I need your help, and you show up because, like you said, we're bombarded by constant information, podcasts, reels, news, whatever it is. And I think a lot of us will take all of that in and we'll just kind of sit on it and go like, oh, when the time is right, or maybe later or what have you. But I think the people who show up and take swift action, even if it results in a complete and utter failure,
Yeah.
will be so much further along
Yeah.
than somebody who just listens and goes, someday,
Yeah.
someday I'll do that.
Yeah.
Because
I,
when?
Yeah, I tell this story about all the things that I've closed down. Like I talk to my ladies now and I'm like, "Did you know that I ran a book club?" They're like, "No." I'm like, "Did you know that I ran a private free circle for women that have gone through abuse?" No. Did you There's so many things exactly what I said. I listened to my gut. I did it. It was a horrible idea, and then I just turned it off. I just stopped. Right. I tell this story about this book club that I ran. I was just like, oh, I was getting, oh, I gotta do a book club. Oh, a book club. Oh, it's coming to me. I started the book club within 4 weeks. It was weekly. I was like, this blows. Oh, this blows so bad. And so much so that I made it so that we would go through the book faster. Like instead of like 10 pages or 20, whatever it was, I'd be like, 20 pages we're doing this week. We're doing 20 pages. Cause I just could not. I got to the end of the book. There was no goodbye. There was no cake. There was no like, there was maybe try another book. It was the day the book ended. I said, this is the last day for the book club. It's been great. Thank you so much, ladies. I'm out. Never did the book club again. Never talked about it. I didn't explain myself. I didn't do a post. I did nothing. Whoever was there that day got the notification that we're not doing this again. I declined. I ended the Zoom link. Sorry, ladies. It's been great. No gracias. And ended it and called it a day. It's quick. It's quick, right?
Quick.
Quick in,
Yep.
quick out. Quick in, quick out. Quick in, quick out. And that's I again the quickness, which is exactly what you're talking about. It's not only about quick in, but it's also about realizing it's not for you and
Yep.
get the F out of there.
Yeah, I'm laughing not because of your story, but because I see so much of myself in that as well. I will start something, I will
Yeah.
feel, and I don't know if you know your human design or if you pay attention to that at all, but I'm an emotional generator, which means that I have to feel what it feels like to do it
Oh,
in order to decide. And so a lot of times I'm like, oh, that feels really good. I want to try that. And then I'll try it. And then I'm like, nope, this isn't for me. And I'm like, shut it down.
exactly, dude. Exactly. But see, this is the issue is so many individuals stay in the thought of I wanna, but they're not doing. When
Hmm.
in actuality, we're never meant to do that, but they never started it. So they don't know the second, third, or fourth thing that they were supposed to land on because they never started the first one.
Yeah.
To that point, mine was yoga. So I was like, oh, I got into yoga and I was like, oh, yoga, this is my jam. Girl, this persona who I am is not yoga. Dude, I am so fast. I am so quick. I'm low key high strung, but like so chill. Could you imagine those individuals that were getting led by yoga by me? OMG, girl, it did not work. Same with meditation. I tried the meditation. I also tried coaching in the field of trauma because my background is narcissistic abuse. I was in a
Hmm.
narcissistic abusive relationship for over 12 years. And I was like, I'm going to help these women, right? And a trauma coach, they need to show up with love and care and calm and, oh, and I'm like, listen here. We're not, dude, it did not work. It
Yeah.
did not work. But the quicker that I got in and realized that this is not the field of which I'm supposed to be in, the quicker I was able to exit. And it
Yep.
has done me wonders to end me up in a field of which I know I'm supposed to be in.
Hmm. I think that there's so much truth in that. And so for so many of us, we are not clear on what it is that we want or how to get there because we haven't failed enough
Yeah.
at the things that we've tried. Because
Yep.
I think that there's, you follow your curiosity. You're like, oh, I'm so curious about that. I've done the yoga thing too. I started so many certifications and I would get to a certain point and I'd go, this isn't for me anymore. I know I've invested time, I know I've invested whatever, and I think a lot of people will go, well, I should finish it. I should. I'm going to should all over myself at this point, right? Because of all the things. But really, it's not meant for you. You're just meant to sort of move through it and try to figure out, well, maybe this was a no, but it led me to clarity on what it is that I do want. And it sounds
Absolutely.
like your gut, your intuition has guided you so far into now creating this really powerful community of people who are like, no bullshit.
Yeah.
We're going to get it
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what this reminds me of what you're talking about right now is years ago, 10 years ago, I'm an avid reader. And I was listening to a podcast and the guy or whoever was talking about how we all have who those of us who like to read, we all have a stack of books somewhere on our coffee table, on our counter, on our nightstand of like the books that are next in line, right?
Hmm.
And he's like, some of y'all right now are in the middle of a book that you hate. You hate, but because you feel like you have to finish something that you start, because this is society we were with, you have to finish what you start. You're not getting onto the book of which you're supposed to be reading because you're in the middle of a book that you freaking hate. Let me tell you something. This was life changing for me. If you don't like the book, don't finish the book. I
Hmm.
was like, it was such an epiphany for me. So obvious, right? So
Yep.
obvious. This is why we need coaches. This is why
Yep.
we need people in our life who just do things just a little bit differently because we're stuck in our life in areas because we feel like we have to finish it if we started it. Girl, you do not have to finish anything that you started. I mean, realistically, right? If you have a baby,
Right.
you kind of have to finish raising the baby. But for we get it, right? We
We
get it.
get it. Yeah.
And that for me was so life changing in again the knowledge of which I was able to acquire programs that I was in that I wasn't resonating with, I wasn't finishing, they're out. And then
Yep.
it allows space for me to start absorbing information, books, programs, master classes that I'm taking so much quicker because I'm in it one third and I just make a decision. Do I want to do this? Do I want to if it's not aligned, I'm out. I'm
Yep.
out. And you're on to the next.
Yep.
Love that.
Yeah. I love that idea. I love that idea so much because I think so many of us will sit with the energy of the unfinished thing in our space, and
Yeah.
it takes up um, so much mental space. It takes up so much room, and then we don't make room for other things to come in, but we also haven't given ourselves permission to just fail fast or quit fast or move on fast and let some stuff go. Let that shit go because you're literally blocking other things from coming in. Um, and we need that, especially as business owners. So the women that you work with, what are they doing? What are their businesses? They're mostly coaches.
Predominantly all coaches. Service based, no product. First generation. So a lot of times they don't have any sort of role model before them. So first generation entrepreneurs and predominantly Gen Xers. I
Okay.
myself am an elder millennial. I'm 43. Um, yeah, and they're looking to improve. They're in their business, right? They're in their business and they're just realizing there's something they're missing. They're in
Hmm.
an echo chamber. They have put everything that they personally know into their business and they want to take it to the next level and they know they need some outside resources to help them to get to the next level, and that's usually when they join.
Where do they typically get stuck? Like, what is it that, when you sit down with many of them, what is it that they're missing? Is it
Sales.
community? Is
Sales.
it advice?
Sales. They don't know how to sell. They don't know how to
Oh,
sell.
sales. Okay.
They're so scared to sell. That's it. They want more money and they do not know how to sell. They do not know how to expand. They do not know how to close multiples. They do not know how to get into a room and sell. They do not know how to close one on one. There's a lot of fear. They do a lot of maybe pitching, but it's like low key pitching. We don't want to be too aggressive or cringy.
Uh-huh.
So I really talk about the playfulness of sales. It doesn't have to be so serious all the time. It doesn't have to be all it doesn't have to be all numbers and graphs. We can laugh. We can have a good time. We can joke. We can throw stuff in. We can take stuff out. We can it's yours. That's what people
Hmm.
forget, I think, a lot of times. They're coming from corporate where there's like so many rules. You have to do it this way. And the reason they have to do it this way is because somebody told them they have to do it that way. So they do. But now you are the owner of your business. You can do whatever you want to do, girl. You can, and we forget that. Like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
I own this.
Yeah.
This is mine. You do whatever you want to do with it. And so that's what I kind of bring back is like how to run scripts, how to write scripts, how to show up. How long should a close be? Where should it be? What does the follow-up look like? These are things that a lot of women are missing. They'll
Yeah.
pitch one time, semi pitch, and then they're like, oh, they don't want it. And then they never talk to that person ever again. They're not doing email sequences. They're not doing newsletters. There's no follow up. They don't want to bug them in social media. They don't want to drop into DMs. There's a lot of hesitancy around it. And I just remind ladies, like, listen, this is not that serious. It is not that serious. It's a game.
Mm.
Entrepreneurship is a game, and you have to play it like a game, very strategic and fun and fun.
Yeah.
You know, think about an intense game of like Battleship. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're serious, but it's still a game.
It's still a game. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think too, when you put things in perspective, a lot of us are not, a lot of us are not saving lives with our businesses. We're saving PDFs and we're saving, and we're helping. But I
That
think
was
we,
good, girl. Oh, that was so good. Oh,
I
that
had to
hits me the
remind myself
most.
of that when I worked in corporate. I was like, I am not saving lives, I'm saving PDFs because the stress and the tension and the everything, it would make me feel like I was being chased by a tiger every day. And I was like, this is not life. This is not fun. I really hate this. And I think that so many of us have found ourselves in places like that where you're like, I don't like this anymore. But you don't give yourself permission to say, I don't like this.
Yeah.
And when you're a business owner and you've invested so much of your time and your energy and your heart and your soul and your blood, and your sweat and your tears into this thing to go, oh, I don't really like this. And they think, especially with sales, sales is very hard for people. But it sounds like you have devised some beautiful ways to make it fun and curious
Yeah, I
and
mean, my background
yeah,
is sales. So I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. I've been going door to door since I was 5. So I've been hawking religion since I was 5. And then in my actual adult life, I did actual door to door selling. So pre-COVID, I would still be doing this if it wasn't for COVID. Pre-COVID, I was running 150 sales reps. I was running 6 offices over 4 different states. And I was running all door-to-door reps on straight commission. Yeah, hardcore, masculine, aggressive sales. Doing all the training, all the hiring, all the firing for them.
hmm
And yeah, that was my business. And then COVID came and literally just punched me right in the face. And I had to pivot, right? I'm a single mom. I've never been married before. I've never had anyone to lean on financially. So I had to pivot and I pivoted into what a lot of people pivoted onto is online sales. But I couldn't just play. I couldn't just be like, oh, I'm gonna, I had to make money. I have to survive.
Yeah, you had to actually survive. Yeah.
And so I took a lot of what I already knew in sales that I had learned over basically 2 decades and now implemented that into the online world, which was very difficult for me because a lot of my sales is proximity. I use a lot of body language. I use a lot of like my body, touch, feel, let's sit down, a lot of vibration, right? I'm very like
hmm
vibrational in the energy of which I would give to people. And there it's different here because there's a screen, right? So I've had to learn how to deal with that and how to work with that. And that's a lot of the things that I teach my ladies.
Amazing. And so you said you had a podcast. Do you still do your show?
Yes, I still do it, but not at the capacity of which I
Okay.
used to. Yeah, I've after doing it I did it for way longer than 2 years, but I committed to 2 years doing it predominantly every single day. If somebody canceled, I wasn't like strapped to be like, I have to fill that space, so there
Yeah.
was times when people canceled and I didn't do one. But yeah, it's a lot,
hmm
podcasting is a lot. You have to hold space. But I do actually give a lot of credit to the ladies of which I interviewed as to also why my business moved so fast because I basically was forcing myself to sit down with somebody for 30 to 60 minutes every day with basically an online coaching call.
Yeah.
Because I would turn it into a coaching call. Like I was like, yes, let's highlight your business, but you better fucking teach me something right now. Right. So I was digging in
Yeah.
I dig it. I like, let's use my story. I'd be like, let's use my story. Can we use me? Can we use me? And they're like, yes, absolutely. So there, I had podcasts where I was like breaking down, having a total breakdown of a breakthrough on, I
Yeah.
didn't care. I didn't care. They were able to showcase their skills and I was able to heal, move, expand all the things. So I used and this is a lot of what women have to learn as far as monetizing, right? Every single moment of your day as an entrepreneur needs to move you forward towards becoming more successful. So instead of
Mm-hmm.
it just being like, oh, I'm running a little, no, how is this helping my bottom line? How is
Yeah.
this helping my bottom line? If you're a sales rep or sales coach, teach me how to sell some shit. And I'd go deep.
Yep.
Trauma coach, let's get rid of some of my motherfucking trauma. I got a lot, right? And I didn't care. I
Yeah.
didn't care. Yeah.
That's amazing. One of the things that I've loved the most about being a podcast guest over the last couple of years has been the relationships that I've made with people who have interviewed me, and I've learned something from every single conversation. And those, I always see them in my. I have synesthesia, so I visualize everything in my mind, and I always see it as like a little link that have been formed all around the world. And one of my favorite things to do is to say, you should meet Sabrina. You would love her. Here's why. And connecting people to one another, because I think that's what we're meant to do. I don't think that anything is wasted. It is always an opportunity for you to pick it up and do something with it, in whatever way you're meant to. If you pay attention to it and you notice, oh, that's for me. Let me pick that up and take that with me. I think that's so powerful. It sounds like you've got lots of links that have formed in your community too.
So many. That's my whole business is based off of, yeah, my whole business is based off of organic networking. I make all my sales at this point in my career. I make all of my sales through one-on-one conversations. Very, very few of my sales are done through like, oh, they just happen to fall upon one of my, things in a, I don't do ads, but like in a post and they're just buying.
Hmm.
It's all, and even that person who did that, more than likely I've talked to them, right? I've sat down, I've had a conversation with them. So yeah, I built my whole business off the law of reciprocity. I teach it, I scream it from the rooftops. When you give, 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 you will automatically get in return.
Hmm.
And I believe that wholeheartedly. And it's entirely how I built my business.
I love it. So what is next for you? What are you working on in your business?
Ooh, ooh. Girl, always expanding. So right now, I just rebranded the last of my websites. So Her Nation magazine has been fully rebranded. It is gorgeous. If you haven't checked it out yet, please do. Um, and more writers, more contributors, more room for ads, sponsorships, partnerships within that realm. Right now, really working on my membership. So I run a community called H Club. For women business owners, where I run the masterminds and the networking. So right now I'm looking to expand into levels. So the entire time I've been running this so far, there's just one. You just enter H Club and you're in H Club. So right now I'm really honing in on what H Club is going to look like going forward. Should there
Mm,
be two different levels? Should there be three different levels? Why? How? What would that look like? Is what I'm really diving into right now to really allow women to come in at the headspace of which they would feel appropriate, right?
yeah.
For them.
Another question just popped in my head is since 2020 when you started your business or you took everything online, what trends have you seen sort of shift or change from that time to now? Because it feels like I would say for me, like when I think about being an artist and sharing my work online, now the space of sharing your artwork, especially in Instagram, is so saturated. And I think in the coaching space, you see so many people are coaching now. What are you seeing with the women who join you um, in that space today?
Yes and no. Are there more coaches? Yes. Is it saturated? No. The
Mm,
reason it feels saturated for you and I does feel saturated is because we follow a bunch of coaches.
yeah.
That's all it is. So I sell the coaches, you sell the coaches. So yeah, it feels incredibly saturated, but it's fucking not. When I look back at my schooling, nobody that I
Mhm.
went to school with is a coach. When I go out and about with my boyfriend and we're hanging out in town, we meet people, go out for no one's coaches. It's got a 9 to 5. So it is and it isn't. Um, as far as a trend that I'm seeing, I do think that more people are understanding the importance of community. I think more now than ever before are they realizing that I should not be doing this alone. One of
Yeah.
the things that I talk about profusely, is that the right word for that?
Hmm.
Is the lie of solopreneurship. No offense to you or anybody who identifies as a solopreneur, but I think it's motherfucking dumb. I think that this lie that we were told of like identifying as a solopreneur is hurting you, because to do it solo is dumb. It's
Yeah.
dumb. And it also is dumb to think that you can absorb or get the prices of which you deserve when you're selling to somebody else and then trying to tell them that you're just working by yourself in your basement all by yourself and you don't have any help in any team. Right. So I capitalize on everybody. To me, I work with my community. I work with the best coaches, which is why I charge what I charge. I run with the best community, which is why I charge what I charge. I have the best vendors, the best merchants. I work with the best platforms. These are all people.
Yeah.
This is all platforms and people that add to the expansion of what it means to be an entrepreneur, not a solopreneur. Why are you charging those high prices? It's just you in your basement.
Just you by yourself. Right.
What are you
Exactly.
doing right now?
Mhm.
But when you can start to get people to recognize, like, dude, this woman is always pouring into herself. So when she's pouring into herself, she can then pour into me. It then explains why the prices are what they are. You're doing
Mhm.
yourself a complete disservice when you're identifying as a solopreneur. And I shout that from the rooftops more than ever before. I said, I do not work with solopreneurs. Absolutely not. If you identify as a solopreneur, you do not belong in my community. I work with entrepreneurs, people that understand that to be an entrepreneur means that you need to be a part of a community. And that doesn't mean like H Club community or Dots community or Chief community or all the ones that are out there, entreprenista. It means that you understand that there are things that you have paid for and invested in, and coaches that you have paid for, and mentors that you've paid for to get you to where you are today. And you are paying tribute to them to get people to recognize that, dude, you are surrounded by brilliance, which is why you are brilliant.
Yeah.
To me, that's the best way to do business.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
I think that for the first couple of years, I really did identify as a solopreneur. And I thought, this is just me. I'm just doing it out here by myself, wearing all
Sounds
the
pathetic.
hats.
Even just listen to that.
Hmm.
It sounds so sad,
It is
dude.
sad. And it was sad. It really
Yeah.
did take a while to find people and community. And so I think that that's one of the best things um, that you have to offer
Yeah.
is that community, that connection. Um, I to stand on the shoulders of the people who came before you,
Yeah, dude.
to lift you up. Yeah.
Yeah. And to also praise the individuals that have taught you what you know.
Hmm.
Like, dude, the coaches that have gotten me to where I am right now, mentally, emotionally, the healing journey that I've been in, dude, thank you.
Yeah.
I would not be who I am today.
Yep.
Even taking into consideration my family, right? My ex religion that I used to attend to, my abuser. These are all people that have made me who I am today, and I love who I am today. Why would I leave that out?
Hmm.
Why would I leave that out of the story and just talk about myself and no, dude. It's
Hmm.
large. It's huge. There's so much that has gone into you and who you are. You have to talk about it.
Hmm.
Yeah, you have to talk about it.
You have to talk about it. That's so
Yeah.
true. That's so, so true. Well, you have such an incredible story. You have such beautiful energy. Thank you for sharing it with us today. Where can people find you online and how can they work with you?
Yeah. So my main website, sabrinavictoria.com. Super easy. This is my name. I predominantly hang out on Facebook. I also have a Facebook group. And I love to invite women business owners into my community, H Club. If you wanted to check it out for free, I do have a free ticket that I could let you in, and you can hang out with us and meet all of the ladies and get a good understanding of the vibe of which my women show up as far as helping each other. I always say we're not a family, we're a team. So we don't coddle each other. We don't sit in the woes of each other's stories.
Mhm.
There's other groups for that. So we hold each other accountable to running our business, and we have fun, and we laugh, and we share business ideas, business resources, business connections to leverage and rise together.
Hmm. And to take action, not just to sit.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Action takers. Yep.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being with me today. I loved hearing your story and connecting with you again. And I can't wait to share everything with the listeners too. Thank you for joining me today on Your Radiant Spirit. Every conversation here is an invitation to go beyond the surface, to listen to what your soul has been whispering, and to step into the life you've been longing for. If you're ready to go deeper, to work in a way that's personal, creative, and profoundly transformative, you'll find ways to connect with me in the show notes. Whether it's through art, a guided session, or a fully immersive journey, you'll discover a space where your truth is seen and your next chapter begins. If this episode spoke to you, it would mean the world if you shared it with a friend, left a review, or subscribed so more people can discover the conversations we have here. Until next time, my friend, keep noticing the colors, the moments, and the nudges. They're all leading you home. And for now, take a breath, hold on to what resonated, and carry it with you into the rest of your day. Thanks for listening.
This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.